Hello, I'm Jared Olin Jones, and I'm the host of the Plutonian Perception, my little podcast I have going over here. Sorry, it's not all flashy and professional like most people. Pardon me. I'm just getting my groove, just getting started here. But I am blessed with a recording studio, so it should be quiet. So that's a bonus. Anyways, tonight I want to cover a few topics. The biggest one is going to be weather modification because I think that's one of the biggest threats to our health and sanity that we are facing as a species in general. It's very difficult to talk about with most individuals because most people aren't individuals and they have not taken the time to look into the documentation that's out there. And most people don't want to make the mental jump to accept the fact that there are actually that there are actual forces that are working to take away our ability to think and reproduce and live a healthy life. It's very disturbing, and it's a difficult topic to cover simply because there is information everywhere and we are bombarded with information daily. And for some reason, I think that humans are addicted to information because that's how we plan and prepare for the future, and that's how we deal with the unknown. So there is an information or a data drive, if you will. There's a drive for information and knowledge. Now, most people collectively, like people in collectivized groups, are attracted towards trivial things that don't make a difference in life. It's like the entertainment that they consume, mostly sports and music and TV dramas and stuff like that. And it gets mixed in with the news. So you have this term that's pretty accurate called infotainment, where they mix information in with entertainment, and people have a hard time distinguishing fact from fiction because they're literally right next to each other and layered on top of each other. So people have a hard time perceiving what is accurate information versus disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. All of us have information disorder. uh it's a real thing, and I am also guilty of this. It's been a long journey of deprogramming and getting my head straight and or unlearning all the things that I thought were true and important, and there was a lot of them. I was really into the New Age movement and astrology and multiple different religions, which I can't say that being into multiple different religions was a bad thing, because I do know the customs of most religions and the ideals of most religions and the practices of most major religions. So there is a plus there. But considering that I've was looking for an identity and looking for a group to fit in with, I went through so many of them. And I thought I could have them all at once and integrate them and be this like hyper spiritualized religious person. But again, the point is that information and data are being used as a weapon. So this is an information war, and propaganda is at an all-time high. It's insane if you look into all of the fake stuff that's already been put out on social media regarding the Palestinian genocide, the Hamas attack on Israel, and everything else that has to do with anything that's important is propagandized and mixed in with pure emotions and entertainment. So people are having a hard time distinguishing fact from fiction. And in fact, most people actually don't really care enough about the truth to go and to investigate any of the things that are actually going to affect our lives here presently and in the future. And things are actually speeding up as well. Things are happening quicker and faster. Inflation is going up more than any of us would like to admit or face. And the worst part about that is our money, our tax dollars are being used to design weapons that are killing innocent people, and the weapons are actually being used against ourselves. These cell phones are literally spy bots that can read our minds and our emotions and our biorhythms, and our biometric data is being harvested from these cell phones. And anybody knows that. They even have a show on Netflix called Black Mirror where they did an episode where they admit to the device stealing all your information, and they use that information to make a show with the person. It was pretty interesting. I don't really watch stuff like that too often, but it was like a look into the Twilight Zone, because I've actually experienced that, where you'll be talking about a product or something like a brand name, and then you'll be on Instagram or Facebook, one of these apps, and then you'll see an ad for whatever you were talking about. So that right there is creepy enough and should get the hair on the back of your neck standing, because if they have the ability to market to you like that, what do you think they're doing with your ideas and what you care about? They literally market the truth, unfortunately, and that goes into this whole new age, where we're in the age of Aquarius, right? Or we're going to be in the age of Aquarius. That's what all the New Agers talk about. And they think a lot of people think it's going to be love and light and airy fairy, humanitarian, new golden age, and utopia, right? But it's the furthest thing from that. The only utopic part of it is going to be the panopticon of the controllers having cameras everywhere, being able to detect even your mind and your thoughts and your emotions. And that's the only way that they will have peace, is when there's an absence of all resistance. It's going to be utopia for them because they'll have complete control all the way down to a genetic level where, and it's even happening now, but the people in the future, just like me and anyone my age, we're a breed of people, if you will. If you think of it like as if we are dogs and you have so many breeds of dogs, well, we are a breed of slaves. We're human slaves, and we're literally taught from birth that this is just how it is, that the government's in control, or the monarchy, or whatever's in control in your nation, and that we pay taxes and tribute to them, and that this is just the way it is, and we accept that as face value, and we teach that to our children, unfortunately. And there really hasn't been much of a break in the chain. And supposedly, we've been slaves for 10,000 years. And I guess some people know that and they're okay with it. And they don't mind as long as they have their lifestyle maintained and they're comfortable enough and they have enough entertainment and devices and things to distract them. It's Pavlovian, if you know who Pavlov is. He was uh, a scientist, a behavioral scientist who studied dogs, and he was able to get the dog to drool or salivate just by ringing a bell. So that's what the notifications are on our phone, the text message, the sound, the vibration. It gives you a shot of dopamine. So we're being trained by the things that are in our environment. Now, that brings me to the environment and the climate, right? Because one of the big things that the controllers, the government, the establishment is really harping on us about is our way of life, and it needs to change because of climate change. And if we don't um, change our ways, that the earth is going to burn up. Basically, we're going to be unable to grow food, and we're going to have crazy weather until basically we're all dead. Doom and gloom, right? I even remember when I was a child, they were telling us in science class that the polar ice caps are going to melt and we're going to be underwater. So, with that being said, unfortunately, what they're not telling you is that they actually control the weather and they manipulate the weather through stratospheric aerosol injection, geoengineering, solar radiation management, and there's one more term they use, but I can't remember it right now. I'm doing my best. This is live, so thank you for anyone that's listening and made it this far into the talk. It's not easy to speak publicly and speak often, even though I'm just speaking to a camera or into the void, basically screaming into a black box because I don't have a big platform or following, and it's not shiny like the infotainment on TV. So most people aren't going to be interested on YouTube. But I'm doing this for myself, and I'm doing it for anyone that wants to learn. And so I can just point and say, go listen to this because here's the information right here. So to start with, I'm going to go over a document. It was signed in by Congress in 2001, and the bill is HR 2977, and it is called the Space Preservation Act of 2001. And the best part of it is that I'm living in Ohio, and it was signed by a Ohioan congressman. It was introduced into the House, and it was Mr. Kuchnich. I can't say that guy's name. I butchered it. Pardon me. Dennis J. Kuchnich. Kucinich. And the committees are the Armed Services and a committee on international relations and a committee on science. And this is United States Code 42 USC dot 2451A. Yes, sorry. This is the boring part, but what it says here essentially is to preserve, cooperate, peaceful uses of space for the benefit of all humankind by permanently prohibiting the basing of weapons in space by the United States, and to require the president to take action to adopt and implement a world treaty banning space-based weapons. So I'm going to just jump down to the types of weapons that they're prohibiting, which, if they're prohibiting these types of weapons, then that means that they have these weapons and they have developed this technology. So, my argument is, why would not a psychopathic pedophile elite, a shadow military, a shadow government, a black budget, a black military, a black government not use these? Because on paper, they're banning it, right? But they're specifically saying that they have these types of technology. So it says the president shall implement a permanent ban on space-based weapons of the United States and remove from space any existing space-based weapons of the United States, and immediately order the permanent termination of research and development, testing, manufacturing, production, and deployment of all space-based weapons of the United States and their components. So they banned those in the United States. They outlawed them. And here's the World Agreement on banning space-based weapons. And it says, the president shall direct the United States representatives to the United Nations. There you go. See, we're under a global control already. It tells you right there. And other international organizations to immediately work towards negotiating, adopting, and implementing a world agreement banning space-based weapons. I'm going down here and I want to get into the meat of it, where it tells you here's the activities, non-space-based weapons activities in section 9 here, sentence 9, section 9. I don't know how you say that. Nothing in this act may be considered as prohibiting the use of funds for space exploration, research and developing, testing, manufacturing, or production that is not related to space-based weapons or systems. Here we go. Here's the definition of space. The term space means all space extending upwards from an altitude greater than 60 kilometers above the surface of the Earth and any celestial body in such space. The term, and this is second article A, the terms weapons and weapon systems mean a device capable of any of the following. So here's the good stuff. Damaging or destroying an object, whether in outer space, in the atmosphere, or on Earth, by firing one or more projectiles that to collide with that object, detonating one or more explosive devices in close proximity to that object, directing a source of energy. Okay, so they're admitting they have directed energy weapons here, including molecular or atomic energy, subatomic particle beams, electromagnetic radiation, plasma, or extremely low frequency, ELF, or ultra low frequency energy radiation against that object, or any unacknowledged or as yet undeveloped means, inflicting death or injury on or damaging or destroying a person or the biological life, bodily health, mental health, or physical and economic well-being of a person. Now you got to realize the term person, the definition of person in legalese is not what you would think. And they're admitting right here that they can affect your mental health or bodily health and physical and economic well-being through the use of any means described in clause I or subparagraph B, and it goes on. 2, through the use of land-based, sea-based, or space-based systems using radiation, electromagnetic, psychotronic, sonic, laser, or other energies directed at individual persons or targeted populations for the purpose of information war. Isn't that crazy? Because I mentioned this is an information war. Mood management or mind control of such persons or populations, or by expelling chemical or biological agents in the vicinity of a person. This is section 3. Part B, such terms include exotic weapon systems. Now, this is what people fail to imagine. This is the part where people can't take the mental leap of how advanced warfare is at this point. Electronic, psychotronic, or information weapons. There it is again. And then it in this 2, it says right here under 2, chemtrails. 3, high altitude, low frequency weapon systems. Plasma, electromagnetic, sonic, or ultrasonic weapons. 5, laser weapon systems. 6, strategic, theater, tactical, or extraterrestrial weapons. And 7, chemical, biological, environmental, climate, or tectonic weapons. So if they're saying chemtrails and they're banning chemtrails, if they're saying that there's chemtrails, then why is that a conspiracy? Why does that have to be a conspiracy when it's literally documented in congressional papers? This is something that they know about. There are many people, that have been trying to wake people up and have been trying to expose this, but the sleeping masses, the herd of people, because they talk about us like we're animals, and they say herd mentality, herd, what is it? When they had the pandemic, they kept referring to us as a herd immunity. It goes on to say the term of exotic weapon systems includes weapons designed to damage space or natural ecosystems, such as the ionosphere, the upper atmosphere, or climate. There you go. There's your climate change right there. Weather and tectonic systems with the purpose of inducing damage or destruction upon a target population or region on Earth or in space. And that's the end of the bill. This was passed 2001, October, 107th Congress, first session. So I want to go on to the next section here. I put links to these 2 sites that I'm getting this information from, because we only can get information from the internet. Mostly books are great, but nobody has them. Excuse me, not many people use books and want to carry them around. But this is from the Defense Technical Information Center, and it says at the heading here, pardon me. I was just trying to see what departments these were, because there's 2 of them. There's 2 seals on the top of the page here, if you go and check it out. And I'm just going to tell you the abstract here, which is incredible. So they've tried to debunk this. You'll see articles if you just pop it into Google search about owning the weather in 2025. They'll say the fact checkers debunk it. So what I recommend is that when you're trying to find information, you always go to start page first, because they're not going to censor the information that's available on the internet like Google does. But it says in the abstract, in 2025, U.S. aerospace forces can own the weather by capitalizing on emerging technologies. Remember those technologies? And focusing development of those technologies to war-fighting applications, such a capability offers the war fighter tools to shape the battle space in ways never before possible. It provides opportunities to impact operations across the full spectrum of conflict and pertinent to all possible futures. The purpose of this paper is to outline a strategy for the use of future weather modification systems to achieve military objectives rather than to provide a detailed technical roadmap. A high risk, high reward endeavors. So they're telling you it's a high risk there. Weather modification offers a dilemma not unlike the splitting of the atom. While some segments of society will always be reluctant to examine controversial issues such as weather modification, the tremendous military capabilities that could result from this field are ignored at our own peril. So they're just saying right there that if we don't do it, someone else will. And that's always the excuse for the most atrocious things that have ever happened in humanity. From enhancing friendly operations or disrupting those of the enemy via small scale tailoring of natural weather patterns, i.e., climate change, i.e., weather change, to complete dominance of global communications and correspondence control. Oh no, counter space control. Weather modification offers the war fighter a wide range of possible options to defeat or coerce an adversary. Some of the potential capabilities a weather modification system could provide to a war fighting commander in chief, CINC, are listed in the table. 1. Technology advancements in 5 major areas necessary for an integrated weather modification capability. Advanced nonlinear modeling techniques. 2. Computational capability. 3. Information gathering and transmission. 4. A global sensor array. And 5. Weather intervention techniques. Some intervention tools today and others may be developed and refined in the future. So, this is approved for public release, and the categories subjects are meteorology, military operations, strategy, and tactics. So, what do you think they're doing with our tax dollars? Do you really think that they're just postulating and speculating about this owning the weather in 2025? And I got some bad news, folks. 2025 is literally right around the corner. Life goes quickly, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down, and rather it seems to be speeding up. So that's my spiel about the weather control and the chemtrails, contrails, chem sky. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because we had a couple really nice fall days where it was, excuse me, it's late, I'm tired, where we had some nice sunshine and it was beautiful, bluebird sky, no chemtrails in sight for like, it wasn't bad for a few days, but then they just kicked it on again. And we've had this overcast for like 3 days and it's only rained once. And it's just disturbing to my mental health because I need vitamin D for my happiness. I need vitamin D. It's important to get sun on your skin. One of the worst things about being locked up in prison is that you can't go outside and get some sunshine. It's terrible. It's disgusting and it's inhumane. I'm not doing good tonight. Sorry, guys. And it's just really bothersome. It's extremely upsetting because it's right there. It's right there in our face, but nobody can see it. Nobody looks up. Nobody thinks. Nobody is concerned about the health of their children, the health of their crops, the water. It gets into everything. They're spraying nanoparticles, and the particles are strontium, aluminum, barium, and God knows what else. They're literally saying that they can put biological agents in the air in the documents that I just read you. Not only that, it turns the entire atmosphere into a conductor. So they can use this standing wave technology from the HARP systems. And all these 5G towers are coinciding with it. And not only that, we breathe this stuff in, so we become conductors for this technology. So they can use this, they can use our bodies against us. They can control us. They can control us. They can put thoughts into our heads. That's old news. They can literally beam a voice into your head. And I don't know how to tell the difference if it's my voice or it's my inner monologue or someone else's. So it's very, very dangerous. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is how they are using religion to bind people's minds. It's the word relegare or relegar. It means to bind in Latin, and that's what a religion does. It ties you to the ideals. It literally is like binding your mind so it can't grow, so it can't go outside of you're basically going in a circle when you're tied to an idea like that. And I'm not saying religions are bad. I think fundamentally the tenets of all religions, except Satanism, Luciferianism, those are. I'm gonna have to cut this short because I'm yawning so much. Those are what hold the moral fabric of society together. You can't build a system or a society without a code of ethics and morals. And that's why I'm pro religion on the individual level, because on the individual level, you are responsible for your own choices and your own decisions. Now, in the groupthink collective religion, the mass religions, the giant organized religions, there's no thought, there's no thinking. It's just the mass. It's a group, and the group hasn't not a mind. Only the individual has a mind. So that's why they can stir up fanatics in these religions, where you have people blowing themselves up and killing other people that aren't in the same religion. And it's getting really bad here in America because of the fight going on in Israel right now between Palestine and Israel. Now, what people fail to realize, because they don't do their history, but most people don't know, Zionism is a revolutionary branch of I wouldn't even call it Judaism, because I've seen lots of Jews denouncing Zionism. And what you have essentially, from my understanding, is that the whole entire Ottoman Empire ruled that region in the Middle East. And it was created, Israel was created in World War I through the Balfour Declaration. And Lord Rothschild was one of the key players in that whole creation of the state of Israel. Now, Zionism is the state of Israel. The state is never good. The state is never, ever going to be good. And that's what I can't wrap my head around, is how people can't see that and can't figure it out. It's maddening, because I don't know anybody that I can really commiserate with about this, and there's nobody that I know that has the time or the mental bandwidth to get on this level and actually teach me, and so we can learn from each other. So that's why I'm making this podcast, is because I do want people to know that there are still free thinkers out there, and that there are people who know what's going on, because it can be very lonely being seeming like the only person that you know is yourself, that can see the forest from the trees, that knows that we're in a fifth generation war, and it's a silent war. You have all these patriots thinking that there's going to be some these conservative Christians, these cons over here. They think that there's going to be some kind of Michael blowing the trumpet, and we're all gonna grab our guns and we're gonna go defeat Satan. And a lot of these people think it's the Islamists that they're directing their hatred towards, and they're itching for a battle. Now, what a lot of people didn't realize, and some I was listening to a talk and it was pointed out, but the attack that Hamas did coincided with uh, Israel's declaration of war and the announcement that they're shutting off all of the resources coincided with the solar eclipse, the Ring of Fire. So if you want to think that's a coincidence, then you need to go smoke some more drugs, because that's not a coincidence. They time these things through the stars, and that's one thing that I think gives me a little bit of insight. Having been an astrologer and studying astrology, you can kind of recognize these patterns through the alignments. And what I noticed was, it seems like every 20 years, then you're guaranteed, it seems like every 20 years, to have a major cataclysmic change or an upset, like a false flag, if you will. They create these emergencies every 20 years. So you look at what happened right around the beginning of the millennium. 2000, you had Y2K, and then in 2001, excuse me, you had the big one. You had the big one, which was obviously the towers. I call it the towers because that's, I don't want to use their language, their terminology, if you will, because that's how they put the ideas and the spells into people's minds through neuro linguistic programming. Every word that we use represents a symbol, and if you string together the words in such a way, you can be telling something to someone, spelling it to them into their subconscious mind, and they're being programmed and downloaded, and they don't know it. And the craziest part is the double speak, because they speak in this legalistic term where they're telling you what they're doing, but if you're not aware and you're not listening very closely, you'll never figure it out. It's like when Trump declared a national emergency and he said, "I'm unleashing the full power of the federal government." That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And they created an emergency to create new laws and make more money and control us more. And it's very, very disturbing seeing people worship these politicians who most people, not even most, but like there's a group of people that have accepted the fact that these are blood drinking pedophiles. It's disturbing. I mean, what happened to Epstein Island's client list? We live in the age of information where there's a total information network tied in through the NSA, and all of the alphabet soup agencies all gather all of our information. So they know about everything. They know everything. They have dirt on everyone. And that's how they keep everyone in check. Everyone is blackmailable. Every single one of these people in power positions are in a position to be blackmailed, and they accept that willingly. And it's how they get into the club. It's how they become part of the establishment. And to them, it's worth it because they know that they're going to live good. They know that they can do whatever they want and get away with it. They can traffic children. They can murder children. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm trying to step it up a notch and put myself out here on the front line, because of the children and the future, and our children and grandchildren's lives are going to be affected by what we do. And I know that I'm not going to be able to live with myself knowing that I did nothing and said nothing. Knowing what I know and not saying anything, that is a crime. To stay silent is to consent, and I do not consent. I don't consent to being poisoned by the air. I don't consent to be poisoned through the water, the fluoride, and all the shit that they put into the water. I do not consent to being poisoned through the food. I do not consent to being poisoned through the media and the propaganda. Again, I want to reiterate this because last time I said this, but everything that we buy from the stores is poison. It has poison in it. It's not pure poison, it's just a drop of poison. How are you going to kill someone? Well, you're not going to put it all in at once and poison everyone and kill everyone at once. No, it's a drop at a time, a drop at a time, a drop at a time. Every single one of your hygiene products, unless you're buying the good stuff without fluoride and without sodium EDTA and without aluminum in it, it's poisonous. If you don't make your hygiene products yourself, it's poisonous, most likely. Even the organic stuff is tainted because it's right next to the inorganic stuff. So more than likely it's been exposed to the chemical fertilizers wafting over. The soil is depleted from all the spraying and from all the chemical fertilizers. There's not vitality in our food anymore. Our food is robbed of all the nutrients. It's dead calories. And you can tell the difference if you grow your own food. You can tell the difference, and you can still nurture the soil and get some semi-wholesome food. But that's why everyone that I know is lethargic. Not a lot of energy left these days, not a lot of enthusiasm left these days. We're being ground down. I'm getting older, so I guess that's another factor. But children, the young children, they're lazy. I shouldn't say they're lazy. Not all of them are lazy, but it's just I don't understand how me being a 30-something-year-old could outwork a 20-something-year-old. It's just that's because the testosterone is gone. It's in these phytoestrogens, these phthalates, and the bisphenols in everything. It's in the canned food, it's in the bottled water, it's in all the plastic. So everything is being exposed to these toxic chemicals and plastic. Why do you think, and people, most of them don't, but you look back into history before I was born, they had to market this disposable culture where everything's in plastic and you throw it away because people were coming out of the Great Depression and they saved everything in the past. They saved their metal cans and their glass jars and they reused everything. But now we live in a throwaway culture where everything's plastic because they want us to fucking it's a throwaway culture. But they had to market this shit to us. They know us so well. They know how to market our own slavery to us. They know how to market the poison to us, and we have to participate in it. We're participating in our own demise, and willfully. It's the most mind-blowing, disturbing thing to come and face square to square, eye to eye with this evil that is the establishment, and the heart of it is the money system, because the money is what drives everything, and it controls everything, and it monitors everything. They track us through our cash. That's why they want to have a digital currency, so it'll be in record forever and you can never delete it, and it's easier to control. I'm getting tired. I appreciate you guys listening. I'm doing my best here to try and get the word out and try to build a platform and an audience. So please, if you've made it to the end of the talk, like, subscribe, and share. And maybe I'll set up some way to where you could donate to me in the future if I get any positive feedback. if I start getting any kind of momentum, because we all need help, and I'm still homeless, and I'm still living in a storage unit. So it's hard out here. We all need help. So I thank you for listening. And the only thing I know is that I don't know anything and I haven't seen nothing yet. So good night.